In one of the most intriguing productions of this month, it all started out because of a joke for a Rocky sequel stating that the only person he needs to fight now is an alien. Screenwriters Jim and John Thomas were inspired by the joke and made a script entitled Hunter. It was about a group of extraterrestrials of various backgrounds fighting various targets, and it was eventually streamlined down to one extraterrestrial fighting various threats. After famous producer Joel Silver acquired the script, he decided to take the film from a niche sci-fi pulp film into a big-budget action film. John McTiernan was eventually hired to direct the film. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura, and Carl Weathers were some of the first guys cast, and then eventually Sonny Landham, Richard Chavez, and Bill Duke were eventually added to the stacked cast. Another person added to the cast was a young Jean-Claude Van Damme as the villain, who was more so imagined as a ninja-like alien hunter. But due to his shorter stature, the monster suit being too hot, and constantly complaining about not being seen in the film, he was eventually removed and replaced with the late Kevin Peter Hall, who was a whopping 7'2". However, Van Damme did shoot 2 scenes in the horrendous-looking costume, one of which did make it into the film. Originally, the creature looked like this, having yellow eyes and a dog-like head. It was designed by Richard Edlund, but due to the fact that everyone agreed the suit looked like shit, McTiernan eventually consulted Stan Winston to redesign the creature, and shooting was put on hold after most of the film had been shot. Winston managed to give us the famous creature design we know of today, with some insight from James Cameron of all people, who suggested mandibles be put on the creature as well. During the gap in filming time, the title was changed to The Predator, and eventually to just Predator. But after everything was said and done, it was released in 1987 and received mixed to negative reviews from critics and only received its action acclaim status many years later. I finally saw what is considered to be one of the best and most classic action films ever made. It's definitely very different than from what I expected. I expected a bit more of a non-stop kill fest type thing than the slow build-up and payoff that unfolded. Not saying it was bad, but just not what I expected. It's certainly the all-encompassing 80s action film, and it rocked in all the right ways. It starts out as a run-of-the-mill action flick with Arnie's team trying to save some hostages from guerrilla soldiers, but then it slowly but surely becomes something more when the soldiers get killed off one by one. It's mainly a decently fun romp with some badass action, some good practical effects, and an exceptional creature design. The first half of the movie is okay, but I found it to be somewhat slow because it was more of a, as I said, run-of-the-mill action flick. Then, with the second half, it started to move along with these guys getting hunted and killed one by one. However, my favorite part is definitely the climax with the mano-a-mano fight between the Predator and Dutch. I would say this makes the movie worth watching alone. However, while the rest of the movie didn't live up to my expectations, it still has its great reputation for a reason, and it's a worthwhile watch for any action fan with some good sci-fi ideas.